Scanning for audio.
Welcome to Tin Dog Podcast number 266. We'll be reviewing the second part of the current Sylvester McCoy 7th Doctor trilogy with Big Finish, Black and White.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, Black and White.
Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, but not necessarily in that order. It's a question of finding the correct point of entry.
Where are you, Professor?
A monster stalks this hall. A demon from the depths of misty hell. A hero has come to avenge you. That hero's name is Beowulf!
Hello? Anyone home?
Great Vikings!
Are you seeking to steal the king's treasure for your master?
Get away from it!
I shall send you to the next world, boy!
Hang on!
Help! Help me! The king! Help! The king!
Hey there! You okay, mate?
We should move before the dragon returns.
Did he just say dragon? Now that's weird. The TARDIS?
Subscribers get more at bigfinish.com.
Black and White's part of the main range. Now, for those of you not following the main range, Black and White could be a little bit confusing. And for those of you following the main range, Black and White could be a little bit confusing. You see, there's a Black TARDIS and a White TARDIS. The outer plasmic shell got blown off on the Angel of Scutari. That's about 3 years ago, and the Doctor's TARDIS has been white, except on those stories when he's been travelling by himself. They've been black. You kind of just accepted this, or thought it was a mistake made by people in it. Well, not the White TARDIS, but the black one, definitely. We'd noticed, we'd moved on, it was never made a major issue of, but we have wondered what was going on. Well, in this story, you find out what's going on, and it's a lot darker than you thought. I won't spoil the reasons why, but there are another two companions that you've not met one of them, and you have met another one in passing, but they've never been actual companions until this very story. Now, I don't know, as a listener, if the reason for the structure for this trilogy has been either A, they're trying something new out, or B, because McCoy's in, New Zealand, being a wizard in the Hobbit trilogy. How did that happen? Look, it's There and Back Again. That's 2 films. I can legitimately do that. There, Hanging Around, and then Back Again? I just don't know. Moving on. McCoy's in the Hobbits, so he's not as available. So perhaps that's why they've done this. That's not saying that the 7th Doctor doesn't appear in this story. I say story, strictly speaking. It's a 1-part story and a 3-part story. Now, whether the 3-part story was originally deemed too weak to be a 4-part story, or they'd gone along and said, let's include this one first episode of exposition and then go straight into the others, is fair enough. McCoy's Doctor does appear. He appears in flashbacks, which still needed to be recorded because they're all new footage, and flash forwards because of the timey-wimey nature of the 7th Doctor stories. Doctors 4, 5, 6 are all fairly linear when it comes to storytelling. They have tried the odd thing, like Butcher of Brisbane a few months ago with Doctor 5. And, of course, there's been the odd one, like, flip-flops. It doesn't matter. But anyway, the real home on Big Finish of timey-wimey stories is the 7th Doctor. So without wanting to give away too many spoilers, there are a Black TARDIS and a White TARDIS. We knew that from the cover. But the main thrust of this whole story, i.e. episodes 2, 3 and 4, are actually a retelling and reworking of Beowulf. The 4th century poem, written down in the 6th century, reevaluated in the 11th century, translated again in the 20th, 21st centuries. I'm a little bit of a fan of Beowulf. I'm a little bit of a fan of some of the stories that come from it. Grendel by Alan Garden is well worth having a read. The original text's a bit... It's nowhere near as impenetrable as you would think, but it does take your concentration. Your mindset really does have to be in a completely different place. Let's put it this way. Scandinavian and Norwegian royal family storylines are quite popular in Hamlet, so you might as well have another storyline that's just as popular and has been translated and compared and converted into more stories. It's got monsters. It's perfect, really, for Doctor Who. And it does make a great Doctor Who story. There is a periphery character, an arms dealer, who's descended from a frog race, who only would work on audio, because if he was around in, well, let's call it the early 90s, shall we say, the makeup could have been dreadful. So I'm glad, from that particular point of view, he's on audio. Many questions that haven't really been asked are answered here, and it's going to get much darker. So if you enjoyed things like The Curse of Fenric, or any of those dark Doctor stories from Virgin, go out and get this whole trilogy. Not just this story, but this story's pretty damn good. So yeah, another recommendation, of course. But a recommendation made by someone going, interesting, I like what you're doing here, can we have more please? And so I'll go away and come back with something about, well, a slow invasion, I believe. So until next time, be seeing you. You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are copyright of the BBC. No infringement is intended. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. To order or simply find out more about the book Whostrology, the Time Traveller's Almanac, visit whostrology.com. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.